Clara, are you ready to face the Raven?
Brave. Be brave. Be brave.
Then let the challenge begin.
Let the challenge begin. The quest returns.
Remember me, Doctor.
Raven
Remember
is
me.
back.
Don't be lasagna. Never eat pears.
18 brave
Clara,
warriors have
please.
set out to defeat the evil that has befallen their land.
This Raven's arc is worse
But
than his
only
fight.
one can rise up.
Hello everybody and welcome to my latest Doctor Who review, where today I review Doctor Who Series 9, Episode 10, Face the Raven, starring Peter Capaldi as the 12th Doctor. It is written by Sarah Dollard. It's the 260th Doctor Who story, and it is the final story to star Jenna Coleman as Clara Oswald. Well, it's a final regular appearance. She will return in smaller appearances, but this is her last adventure with the Doctor on a regular basis. So we'll call it her final story. The Doctor, Clara, and Rigsy are trapped on an alien street in London that is hidden from the rest of the world. Ashilda, the immortal hybrid girl, is taking care of some of the most dangerous creatures in the universe. Not everyone will get out alive. One of them must pay the price and face the Raven. So Face the Raven, yeah, this is an interesting one. I had not seen this one since 10 years ago. It's been a long time since I've seen this episode, because I sort of, after I watched Series 9, I did kind of tune out of the show a little bit for unmentionable reasons. Yes, we'll get to that. So it's kind of interesting to revisit this story after all this time, and especially as it is technically Clara's final story. It's her exit. She's been in the show a long time. Let's see how her story ends. I think the best way to carry on with this review is to kind of add a bit of further context to the plot, because I must admit, when I first watched this just now, when I rewatched it just now, I kind of struggled to understand some of it. So I want to shout out Nick Payne for helping me summarize the plot here, because I messaged him and I asked him, can you just bring me up to speed on some of this? Because it went by so quickly, I had trouble grasping it. So Nick, thank you very much. Essentially what happens is that the Doctor and Clara receive a phone call in the TARDIS, and the whole thing is a complete setup. Ashilda, or me, sets up this fake murder of this woman and frames Rigsy, the guy that they met in Flatline. Kind of like how James Corden rejoined Matt Smith in Closing Time. Yeah, because everyone loves James Corden. So anyway, and they go looking for this alien street, and they find it. There are these worms that exist in the lamps, and if they weren't there, then you would see the real aliens, but everybody is disguised to look human. Whereas actually we do see some classic Doctor Who villains in the background, which is quite nice. And basically Rigsy has on his back a tattoo which is counting down to his death. They are trying to figure out a way to save Rigsy whilst also trying to deal with Ashilda and her, her threat, because she's technically made herself the mayor of the town, and she is the one who wields the power of the Raven, as we witnessed earlier when a member of the public is murdered. So the concept of this Raven that kills people and the tattoo countdown, I think is really cool, and I think it really adds a lot of suspense and tension to the story. And then roughly sort of halfway into the story, Clara decides to take the countdown and put it on herself. So essentially Clara decides to help Rigsy and buy him some time by pressing the back of his neck, and she takes the death sentence on, and she's like, it passes to her because they can't evade it. Someone has to die. But Clara is kind of unaware of this, but wants to help her friend, so she chooses to take that and buy him some more time, thinking it will help. This is an error of judgment on her part, because, as we know, Clara does like to act like the Doctor sometimes, and I think maybe this is one of those moments where she felt like, oh, this is something the Doctor would do. I will do this. And unfortunately, it backfires. And then through a long, complicated explanation, we discover that, yeah, the murder was a setup. And then later down the line, we meet this character called Anderson, who's played by Letitia Wright, who you may know from Black Panther and the Marvel movies. And then together they all discover that the woman who's inside the casing is actually still alive. She's kind of just being incubated, or she's in some kind of cryostasis. And then the Doctor opens the machine with his TARDIS key. It's all revealed basically that Ashilda was in cahoots with the Time Lords, although the Time Lords aren't really mentioned. And she puts a teleport device on his arm and traps him into being teleported away. And this whole kind of lure, unfortunately, has ended up with Clara sacrificing herself for no reason. So it's very sad, really, because Clara tried to do the right thing for her friend, and in the end, she is the one that has to face the Raven, and very tragically, Clara actually dies at the end of this story. It's very sad. So for me, this story is very complicated. Having not seen it for a long time, it's hard to keep up with it. There are moments when I'm thinking everything's going a bit too fast. I think because it's only one 45-minute episode, it feels like they are cramming quite a lot in there. It is really well done, and the idea is fantastic, and the emotional climax of the story with Clara's passing is very well handled, and the final scene with Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman is really good. But everything leading up to that, I'm like, hang on a minute, I haven't even had a coffee. It's like I have to double take to keep up with this story. So it kind of says something when I have to ask a friend what the plot was. Like, I watched it and then I was like, hang on a minute, before I review this, I need to figure out what the hell this was. Again, thanks to Nick, but I think the episode really suffers in that way. It's a little overcomplicated, and there could have been a way to make the pacing feel less brisk, and it should have been a bit more even. And I know in some ways they're setting up for the next two episodes, but even so, without that kind of prior knowledge of what comes after this, you're going to be scratching your head going, what the hell's going on? At times, it's a bit too overcomplicated, and it's a bit overstuffed, I think, with certain things. I do really like the cast here. Of course, it's worthy to note that Peter Capaldi obviously is the Doctor here, and to me, this is one of his best performances, because they've cut out all the crappy comedy that they've tried to inflict on him in the past, and I think he gives a very grounded, very serious and emotional performance. Like when he knows Clara is going to die, he can't accept it. He can't deal with loneliness, and that's a very common theme with the Doctor and a lot of his companions. Capaldi plays that really well, and you can see the growth of their relationship since Capaldi began as the Doctor. Even though Clara gets a bit controlling in her last scene, I do quite like the moment where she says, you know, you're going to be lonely, you're going to be sad. You know, don't go looking for vengeance or revenge, you know, just be proud of me, be very proud. And I really like that moment, and he kisses her hand and sort of watches her die as she walks out to face the Raven, and she allows herself to die. It's really powerful, and the music by Murray Gold is at its best here. And that final moment where Capaldi says to Ashilda, when she said, don't go looking for revenge. She wasn't saving me, she was saving you. And he says something like, I advise you to keep away from me. When you're near me, the universe is very small. Something like that anyway. He gives her a big warning, because we can now see how angry and dark the Doctor is going. And I like Capaldi's Doctor in that regard. He's very good at being dark. He's terrible with the comedy, but with the darkness, he's amazing. And you can see this is why they cast him, because you can see the kind of unhinged rage of the Doctor. And I look forward to seeing that play out in the next story. As for Maisie Williams, yeah, she's good. I didn't really think there was much point bringing her back, but it was nice that they found a way to bring her back for this story. She is a very good actress, and I still can't stand the whole me thing. That's stupid. But I thought her performance was very good here, and I actually think her performance is better here than it was in The Woman Who Lived. And her reasons for what she's doing, they do get a little bit confusing at times, but I think she plays off the Doctor and Clara really, really well. Jovan Wade as Rigsy, it's nice to have him back, and I think he's actually better in this one as well. He gives a very dramatic performance, because this guy thinks he's going to die, and he's questioning whether he actually murdered this woman or not, and sadly, he's a victim, much like Clara. And as for Jenna Coleman as Clara, well, I do have to say a few words. Well, it's no secret of the fact that Clara is not my favourite companion, nor is she a lot of people's favourite companion. She has done a good job with the role. Her acting is very good. The scripts have been very mixed, and they have tried to turn her character, into the Doctor at times, and into a bit of a control freak. So aside those elements, I did enjoy aspects of Clara's character. There's an argument to be made she probably stayed too long into the show, and I would probably agree with that. But if they had to give her an exit that was satisfying and honourable and emotional, I think they did it. I think, honestly, they gave her the best send-off they could. They treated her with respect, and she treated it with respect. And I was genuinely moved, and I did actually have a knot in the throat when Clara died. It was pretty powerful to be fair. And of course, Jenna Coleman's reasons for leaving the show was because she was offered another job. I believe it was Victoria. I think that was the name of the show. Again, Clara is a mixed bag of a character for me, but I did enjoy her. And the fact that she got to interact with 2 of the Doctors is good for her. I'm very pleased for her, but it is definitely time for a fresh face in the companion seat, and it is time for her to move on, but I'm very thankful that she was in the show. So, well done, Jenna. Thank you. And of course, the production design is very good. It's very simplistic, being this kind of one street down in London, but I don't think it needs to be anymore. It's perfect. It's perfectly simple, yet effective. Less is more, rather than Sleep No More, which is trying to be too experimental. For me, it's just the pacing that lets this story down and the way information is distributed. But aside that, Face the Raven, this is a very good Doctor Who story, and one of the strongest in Series 9 by far. It's not a masterpiece, it's not perfect, but it's very good. Leagues better than the last story. Oh yeah, and a very good, satisfying, worthy exit for Clara Oswald as the Doctor's companion. So my final rating for Face the Raven is 9 out of 10. So now, the next story is going to be a very interesting one, because we move on to Heaven Sent, which a lot of people consider the best of Series 9. And it's one of the first stories in quite a while where the Doctor is companionless. So that will be interesting to see how Capaldi manages a whole episode on his own. And then we go to... actually, let's not talk about the one afterwards. We're not there yet. So anyway, thank you very much all for watching. Thanks to Nick Payne as well. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Comment down below. Let me know what you think of Face the Raven. Stay tuned for my review of Heaven Sent. So until then, I'm Pagex Perspective. See ya. Bye for now.